tagliata, messa fuori, c'è Pirlo, ancora Pirlo di tacco, tiro, gol!
Hello and welcome to the AC Milan Talk podcast. I'm your host Amit Paul, and as always I'm joined by Jason Brown. JB, how you doing?
I'm doing alright, mate, doing alright.
Good man. Right, so Milan secured a shaky 2-1 win over Cagliari on Sunday night, and we'll analyse the game itself and go through our player ratings. But first, Jace, let's start with overall thoughts on the game. Not the most convincing of wins, was it really? We had a really good spell for the first 20 minutes or so. We're playing with intensity, energy, pressing high up the pitch, and we had a bit of composure on the ball as well, so all positive signs early on, and obviously got the goal. And then all of a sudden it just all fell apart. I don't know whether that pesky little cooling break broke us off our stride, but we just seemed to fall apart in the second half of the first 45 minutes. Continued into the second half. Cagliari got a deserved equaliser. Can make no complaints about that. And it took a bit of magic from Suso to get the 3 points for us. What's your thoughts on the game in general? I mean, Cagliari had a lot of opportunities there, and you could say we were pretty lucky to come away with 3 points.
Yeah, I would have to say that. Unfortunately, I think Cagliari were a bit unlucky to go in at the break. 1-0 down. I think they were worthy of going in level, and I think ultimately. Same with the game, the final whistle. A bit unlucky to lose it. I don't think they did enough to win it. They had a lot of opportunities, and some may argue they were the better side over the 90 minutes. But I think Milan as a team, we did carve out some pretty good chances. But then again, so did Cagliari. So I reckon, if it had been a draw, I don't think we could have been that upset, really. But obviously, very happy to get the win.
Absolutely. Just looking at the stats, so that's 6 wins to start the season in competitive games, 15 goals scored, 5 clean sheets and just a 1 goal conceded. We've seen a balance now, Jace. There's games, obviously, take into consideration the opposition, the level of the opposition, but we've seen us play some really good football. We've broken teams down, we've been composed on the ball, we've played a good brand of football. And then in contrast, we've got last night's win where we had to grind it out. We rode our luck, we stuck in there and we eventually got the win. Is it important to get that balance? I mean, you're not going to look good every week, are you? So these kind of wins obviously, build a bit of team morale, if you like, as well, to build that winning mentality.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you say, things aren't always going to be, easy breezy. There's going to be times where there's tough games. You come up against an opposition like Cagliari who really want to get stuck in, who are really going after the 3 points, and you have to do your best to, ride your luck and take the opportunities when they come, and I think Milan showed that yesterday.
100%. Good man, right, so let's breeze through these player ratings. I want to get your thoughts on Gianluigi Donnarumma first. What are you giving him?
Donnarumma, I'm going to give him a 6. I thought he did quite well, pulled off some good saves in the first half, especially right after we scored. And then I'm not sure if he touched it when the ball hit the post. I'm going to give it to him anyway, just because it looked really close. I think he definitely did close down the angle well enough, and if it was on target, he would have saved it. So, pulled off some good saves. I can't really give him more than a 6, I don't feel, only because of his role in the opposition's goal. Poor pass out to Kessie, but yeah, I think 6 is a solid performance.
Oh, Chase, you made a good point with that pass. I forgot. I blame Kessie for that bit, but Donnarumma's got to take some blame. I'm going to stick to my guns and I'm going to give him a 7. I think I understand exactly what you mean, but there were a few important saves in there. I think he was quick off his line a few times as well to kind of sweep up danger. So, from a goalkeeper's perspective, I think that's as much as you can ask for. I think I'm going to give him a 7, but yeah. Take your point about that pass for sure. Moving on to Conte, I'm going to give him a 6. I think he was, up and down that right flank, as always, just constantly bombing forward as well. Great option going forward. I just feel as though he got caught out a few times defensively, and Cagliari had a bit of joy down their left wing. I don't know again whether it's just a case of he's still building towards full fitness, but he just doesn't. He can't afford to kind of neglect those defensive duties for me. So I think he needs to improve in that aspect. So a 6 for Conte for me. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. It would have been a 7, but for like you say, he gets kind of caught out drifting, doesn't he?
Yeah.
A bit. So yeah, again, I agree. Up and down the wing, he was excellent, but he can't neglect his he's there as a defender, isn't he? Really, so he needs to make sure he gets that down first. But yeah, if he can sort that out, then I think he'll be 7s, 8s every week if he can continue getting up and down the way he does. But this week I've given him a 6.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Next up, Bonucci, Milan captain, Jay, so I'm going to give him a 6 as well. I think there were a few clumsy sort of defensive moments from him, to be honest. I don't know what it is. I don't think he's looking as commanding as he normally does, back for Juve and for Italy. I think, again, similarly to Conte, I don't know whether he's still settling, new club, new environment. Maybe he needs a few weeks, but still looked a little bit vulnerable with balls over the top, with a lack of pace. There's some concerns there for me, but I've no doubt that it will improve in time. But yeah, for now, I'm just a little bit concerned, but I'm going to give Bonucci a 6.
Yeah, I was probably a little bit harsh on Bonucci. I've given him a 5. I think he got caught out a few times. That Sal, was it? I think for the opposition was getting away from him, and ultimately had 2 really good chances because of it. And we talked about Donnarumma's saves and the one that hit the post, but as well, I think he got away with one. He should have given away a pen.
Yeah.
Too. So another day that would have been given, and potentially even a red card. I think because he was the last man. So a little bit lucky. I take your points. Maybe he's finding time to settle in, but he's no stranger to Serie A, and all these players he would have played up against in the Juve defence. So I don't know what's going on, if he's finding it hard to settle in with a new back 4, but he kind of needs to improve, because another week, another day could have been punished for the mistakes that he made. But a little bit fortunate to get away with him the other day, but I've still given him a 5.
I think I'm being too generous. Everyone's giving me grief for being too harsh last week. I think I am being too generous. You're right with that penalty shout as well. It could very easily could have been a 5 for Bonucci. No, fair enough. Moving on to Musacchio, I'm going to give him a 6 as well. Similarly to Bonucci, I don't think they were convincing in dealing with Cagliari's threat. I think there's a lack of pace between them, and that's an issue moving forward, especially with the movement we saw from Sau, like you said, balls in behind, better opposition, take their chances, and we're in trouble. So again, he's looked great since joining and all summer long in the pre-season, but last night was kind of the first signs of concern for me with Musacchio. I don't know about you, but yeah, 6 for me, I think.
Yeah, I've given him a 6 as well. Like you say, I think it's the pace of the forwards really showing both Bonucci and Musacchio, but especially that Farias, was it? Yeah. Diego Farias was pulling him about a lot, putting the speeds on. But yeah, I think he didn't do as bad as Bonucci. But again, he was, like I say, he was getting caught out a few times. But yeah, a solid 6 for me for Musacchio.
Good man. Ricardo Rodriguez was the pick of the back line for me, so I'm going to give him a 7. I think he was, again, by all means, he wasn't perfect defensively, but I think he was solid on that side of things. And he matched Conte's energy on the other flank. Brilliant sort of distribution as well, kept constantly switching the play over to the right as well. And, overall, I think it was a pretty impressive performance. So Rodriguez gets a 7 from me.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there, mate. Again, like you say, best out of the bunch of the back line. His energy is just infectious, isn't he? It's like he doesn't stop. He's constantly... He's so powerful as well, which I think is something that we really need against these sort of teams like Cagliari. 7. I think he did quite well at the back.
Good stuff. Moving into midfield, your man Kessie, Jace, what are you giving him?
My man, but he's got a 5 off me, unfortunately. Yeah, lost the ball, that triggered the goal. We talked about it. It was a bad pass from Donnarumma, but in that situation, I guess you give it straight back, don't you? You don't try and turn, which is what he did, turn into some trouble, and then it's 1-1. But I think he did kind of make amends towards the end, trying to push forward, and he did put the ball in the back of the net, but ruled out for a foul, which I think was unnecessary. He didn't need to pull his shirt there.
Yeah,
that could have secured the match pretty much. But yeah, I thought he did okay. Again, with the runners we talked about in the opposition, I think he was getting caught out as well. They were getting past him too easily, and then facing up to Bonucci and Musacchio, which they were giving him issues. I think he could have given the 2 centre backs a bit more protection, so that's why I marked him down a 5. But yeah, it's a shame I didn't want to, because you know how much I love Kessie, but being objective, I think, yeah, 5 is probably fair.
Yeah, well, shock horror, I've not given him a 7 or above. I thought we'd be just bashing out 7 constantly for Kessie week in, week out. But yeah, I've given him a 6. He'll have to learn from that mistake, as you mentioned. He turned into trouble, lost possession, and it cost us. So, I think, it's a lesson learned for him. And I think there were a couple of occasions where he just got turned too easily. It was shocking to see him, be done like that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But powerful, energetic for the most part. Like I said, bombed forward quite a bit. I don't know whether there's a case of fatigue creeping in for him, because he's obviously played a lot in pre-season and in the qualifiers. We had 4 games in 10 days as well, so I don't know whether that affected him. Looked a little bit heavy-legged to me, but yes, I see where you're coming from, but I'm going to give him a 6, and fingers crossed we can get those mistakes out of his game, but all good. Moving on to Riccardo Montolivo, Jace, I've given him a 6. A bit surprising to see a couple of the media outlets in Italy give him a 7. I thought he was good. Yeah. I didn't think he was that great, to be honest. Bit more positive in the sense that he was getting on the ball and dishing it about. It was a tidy display overall. Battled hard, kept Milan ticking. But like you mentioned there with Kessie, Montolivo predominantly, before Biglia came on, played in front of the defence. And it's his responsibility to offer that protection to the back line. And I don't feel he did that particularly well. So that's why I'm marking him down, if you like, to a 6. What are you giving him?
Yeah, I agree with you. I've gone with a 6. I think you're right. He did do some good in that game. His passing was all right. But ultimately, like you say, him and Kessie are there to, offer protection, and they didn't do that that well, really. I think having Montolivo in there up against all that pace in the opposition, it just didn't work, did it, really? But, he did make amends. He was getting the passes out, find teammates. But I think ultimately, the way that the performance was, I couldn't give either of the 2 men in the middle higher than a 6.
Yep, no, that's fair enough. Moving on to Hakan, I've given him a 5. It was a pretty bad performance, wasn't it, Jace? I think he didn't really influence the game, continuously made errors, losing the ball when in possession or passing. Obviously, I still feel as though he's got a lot of room for improvement. I think he'll get better and better as the weeks go by, but this is definitely one to quickly forget for the Turkish international.
Yeah, I agree. I've gone with a 5 as well. Like you say, losing the ball too much. I forgot he was even playing. You see the game, it's like I don't think they mentioned him, more than 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty poor performance from him, and like you say, one that I think he would like to forget very quickly and come back and make amends.
Fingers crossed. Looking at it from the completely opposite end of the spectrum, Suso, Jace, what are you giving him?
I've given Suso an 8 this week for his performance. I thought, all round, put him to the side the fact that he scored the winning goal. I think all round his play was excellent. He was getting in there, creating chances, getting up, and for the goal he created that himself. Won the free kick and then put it away beautifully. So no complaints for me on Suso. I think excellent game.
Yep, echo those points. I've given him an 8 as well. I will, I like to have a moan. It wouldn't be like a podcast without some moaning a little bit. But I feel like sometimes he's a little bit too predictable. And, he does cut into his left. He swings that left-footed delivery into the box. And, more often than not, I feel like, the defenders clear it and it's dealt with. But you can't knock him on this occasion. Decisive with the 2 goals. Assist for Cutrone. Absolutely sublime free kick. At a crucial point as well when Milan was struggling. So you need your big time players to step up in big moments, and he did. So more than deserves his 8 for this week. So yeah, hopefully that will continue from Suso. Your boy Cutrone, Jace, another goal. What are you giving him?
Yeah, I've given him a 7. I thought great game. Great goal. Showed a lot of energy. Was, like you say, was trying to get on the end of everything that Suso was putting in the box, and it worked for the first goal. A little bit unlucky, I felt, but he kept trying. He was there constantly making those runs before he was subbed off. But yeah, I thought, considering his age and the fact that, this is 3 goals on the bounce, 2 in Serie A and 1 in the Europa League. I think he's doing excellent, and can't really say anything bad about him. From yesterday's performance, I thought he was one of the few Milan players who was really up for it yesterday.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Like I said, worked tirelessly off the ball, pressed from the front, kind of set the tempo for the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Got his goal, obviously showing that predatory skills in the box, which is brilliant to see as well. But yeah, just to echo the points as well. Just his football brain and his eye for goal. It's just for a 19-year-old, it's unbelievable for me. I think the movement that he does and the goals that he's scoring, it's a great thing to see. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he can keep up his form. But obviously poses Montella a problem because you got Silva and Kalinic sitting on the bench as well. So
Yeah.
it's interesting times. And then to wrap us up, Jace, Fabio Borini, I've given him a 6. I felt like he deserved his standing ovation when he was substituted. You got what you thought, you expect from Borini. Worked hard, ridiculously, never stopped running, just constantly pressing and closing down the opposition. The only thing missing from him now is just that bit of quality in the final third, and I think that was always going to be the problem. He got into that one, brilliant position, made it himself, in truth, on the counter-attack, and hammered his effort straight at the keeper. But yeah, you can't knock him. He works so hard for the team, and I'm really happy to see that's being appreciated by the supporters at the San Siro. So obviously not the highest of scores, but a 6 from me. What about you?
Yeah, I've gone a 6 as well. I think he's a bit unlucky not to get a 7, but if we're giving Cutrone a 7, I don't think Borini deserves a 7. But yeah, a lot of the dirty work, wasn't he? He's doing a lot of running, and like you say, you mentioned that chance that fair play to him. Like you say, he did create that himself, and I was a bit disappointed that the other Milan players weren't breaking their necks to get up and join him, because I think he did quite well to hold it up.
Yeah.
And I think he was waiting for players to come and join him, and nothing happened. Then, like you say, he made the space and got his shot away. But yeah, I think he worked hard, exhausted the opposition defence. I thought he was there, a problem for them, constantly thinking about him and his running. So yeah, I think he's well deserving of his 6.
Absolutely. Just quickly on that point about the counter-attack, when you said that the players weren't breaking forward to kind of support him, do you almost feel like that's almost a case of like they don't have confidence in the fact that the ball's going to get to them with him on the ball? Or do you just think that it was a case of, he's going to try and score for himself in this situation, so just we weren't breaking our necks to get in there?
No, that's a good point. I think, yeah, you're probably right. They may not have the confidence to say that, Barini's able to hold it up for them to come and join the attack. I think they're thinking, if we run and he loses it, we're kind of in no man's land, and ball over the top has got to take us all out. So that's a great point. I just thought it was laziness or tiredness, but it may have been not believing that Borini was able to hold the ball.
Yeah, well, it's not nice to see, but never mind. We've got the win, so that's all that matters. We're going to skip Kalinic and Antonelli because I don't feel like they had enough time on the pitch to kind of warrant a serious rating. But good to see Kalinic come on for his debut. He did press well, and he asserted himself well, so nice to see him on the pitch. But just a quick word on Lucas Biglia, Jace. I'm going to give him a 6. I feel like it was a great debut from him, to be honest. I was a bit concerned him coming on, obviously with the injury he's just had, and he's only just recovered. But he was a really calming influence in the heart of the midfield. Swept up the danger, played it simple but effectively. And it's just a kind of insight into what we need. What you mentioned earlier how Montalivo and Kessie didn't really offer that protection to the back line, and I feel like Biglia did that when he came on. So positive to see him come on and have an impact.
Yeah, definitely. He did move the ball well when he came onto the pitch. Like you say, he just looked a bit more solid, didn't he? What we need going forward. But yeah, I was quite impressed. I agree with you. I think I'll give him a 6 for the half an hour he was on the pitch. But yeah, he definitely showed some promising play.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Right, so let's just rattle through some comments on Twitter that we had. Moz at Mr. GL. Do you think we will sign a starting caliber winger to complement Suso? I think we do need it now, Jace. I've gone through the last few weeks saying that I think, if the transfer window's shut now, I'll be happy. But I feel like there's a lack of pace in this team. I know Borini offers some, and if you do start Silva or Kalinic, then that's a bit more. But to kind of complement what Suso does when he holds up the ball and takes on his man, I feel like, in the same mould as Delafeo last season, I think he worked quite well in that role. I feel like we need a pacey winger. I don't think it's going to be Niang. I think, the message from the fans last night, if you saw the banner, They've pushed him to leave. If you're stressed at Milan, then they'd rather see him leave. So that rules him out. I think he is going to go. But do you agree? Do you feel like we still need someone on the left wing to kind of give us that pace, that injection of pace, and on the counter attack we can stretch defences and look a bit more of a threat?
I do see your point. How we could do with someone. I think if we've got the players at the minute, I feel just maybe adjusting formation a little bit with the way that Rodriguez gets up and down the wing. I think we'll be all right. Actually, to be fair, without one, I think if we get players filling in and moving, making sure that when he goes, someone can drop back in, would do all right. And maybe having a pacey left winger would kind of not allow Rodriguez to get up and down as much as he would like. So I can see what you mean. Having someone to complement Suso would be great, but I think having Suso playing a kind of freer role where he's kind of free to come in more centrally and have Rodriguez and Conte bomb up and down the wings. I think that works quite well. We just need that extra piece in the middle. It could be bigger actually once he's fit. We can rely on to kind of be solid in the middle and fill in any gaps that's created by the wing backs.
Yep, very good point. That's fair enough. Just moving on to the other comments, coming to the midfield in a second, but at Saw Plume said, poor match, but sometimes you have to win ugly. Defence looked weak tonight and passing too often astray. Not sure about the 4-3-3. And then just to kind of build on that, there were a lot of comments on the midfield, so just going to get your thoughts on that as well. So S. Zaman said, very unorganised, lots of holes in the middle, still far from perfect. The only one among new signings who's paying his cost off is Rodriguez. Asan Lewis, we need another top midfielder. And Fabio Lucarini said, the midfield is not protecting the defence at all and is also creating little. From what you've seen now, Jace, through pre-season, Europa League qualifiers, the first two league games, do you think we're still lacking a midfielder? Or, as you said there, I think Biglia is going to come in and do a massive job for us. So that's one sort of solution, if you like. I think Locatelli should have started last night over Montalivo. Not blaming Montalivo at all for the poor performance, but
yeah,
I think that was a wrong decision from Montella. But do you think we've got enough in midfield to kind of, when they're fully fit and all in place, that we can go through the season without necessarily needing another? Or do you still think we should go out and buy one before the transfer deadline?
I think I just mentioned there if we did get in a midfielder, but like you say, I did kind of neglect Biglia when I was first going through my thoughts. But yeah, having him fully fit, I think we wouldn't need another midfielder. But the question is, will we get a fully fit Biglia for the whole season? That's the $1 million question, isn't it? So I think if Montella's confident that we can get him fit and keep him fit, I think we should be fine with what we've got. But the problem is, if he's not fit, the players to come in after him just aren't good enough. So it may be something for Montella to think about. I think he only knows the true fitness of Biglia, or he knows what Biglia's capable of doing all season. So I think if Montella's confident, I'm confident.
Good man. Well, we've got a few more days left and we'll have our answers shortly. I think Rafinha from Barcelona is one man that's been linked, so maybe a move for him. But
he's a good player. He's very versatile.
Yeah, no, it'll be a decent signing, but we shall see. We'll have to wait and see, and we'll obviously discuss all of this, all the transfer moves this summer and the end of the window in our special at the end of the week. So listen out for that, listeners. But Jace, I think that's a wrap for this player ratings. Unless you had anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we covered everything. Some harsh ratings out to two of the big men, Bonucci and Kessie. But hopefully next time out, we'll be giving out 6s, 7s, and 8s. Fingers crossed,
Jace. Big game against Lazio after the international break. So
huge.
Good to get 3 points from that one. Good stuff. Right, so that's a wrap for this week. As I mentioned just then, there will be a special transfer podcast at the end of the week once the window closes. So keep an eye out for that. SoundCloud and iTunes listeners, another reminder just to subscribe on YouTube, where we'll be uploading a lot more content over the course of the season and through the upcoming international break. But until next time, Jace, that's a wrap. So I think there's nothing else but to say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye to the people.